Good morning, student. Good morning, all of you. I hope you all are well and following the COVID precautions. So, I hope you all are very excited that you are coming to school very soon. And please watch the videos regularly and submit your homework as well. Okay. So, in the previous class, we were studying about the difference between weather and climate. Okay, what is the difference between weather and climate? Because we generally think that they both are same, but they are not. Okay, when we are talking about weather, it is different. When we are talking about climate, it is different. Okay, so let's now talk about the adaptation of penguin. In the previous video, we have already talked about the adaptation of polar bear. Now we will talk about the adaptation of penguin. I'm sure all of you know what is penguin and how penguin looks like. So it is a bird. As you can see on the screen, you again do not see penguin in our surrounding. At least India, we do not see penguin. But again, they are present in such extreme cold region. You look at the body of polar bear. The way the body is, the way they have so much of fat inside their body, this so much of thick fur, it is very difficult for these animals to survive in hot areas. Okay. Now in penguins, they have a thick fatty skin, and due to the presence of this fat, it provides warmth to their body and it keeps their body quite high. They are also white in color. The same reason, white color will mix with the white background, which is the color of the snow, and that's how it will help them to catch their prey and also protect themselves from their predators so that nobody can catch them. They prefer to stay in groups. Now if you ever get a chance to go to a region, and if you have ever seen these kinds of penguins in your TV, mostly in Discovery Channel and all, many times they show different types of animal. You will always observe that these penguins, they always stay in a group, a lot of penguins together. You know why? Because a lot of penguins they are together, they provide warmth. I'll give you a simple example. Have you ever noticed that if there are 10 people in a big bus, you really do not feel hot, or you really do not feel very congested. And if inside the same bus, instead of 10 people, there are 50 people, what happens? Every human being is radiating some amount of heat. Some amount of heat is generated by everybody, and if there are 50 people instead of 10, a lot of heat get produced and you feel hot inside the bus. So the same thing hold to in this case also. When they stay in a group, it generates heat, and that's why it will help them to stay warm. Webbed feet, if you have ever observed the feet of the penguin, it is like how the ducks. For ducks also they have webbed feet. Where the fingers are not separated from each other, they are like a joint with each other. That is called webbed feet. And these webbed feet help them to swim with lots of power. Okay, because you need a special features, and that's how the webbed feet work. Streamlined body, again a streamlined body help them to reduce the resistance of the water while swimming, and they can swim comfortably. They can fly underwater. This is a very special character of the penguin. They can swim in the water. That is the one thing. They have a streamlined body and a webbed feet, but they can also fly underwater. That's amazing, right? And do you know how they do that? That's because their wings, which have shape like flippers. So just look at their wings. They are like a flipper. So they help them to swim even underwater, and you will be amazed to know that they can actually flying at a rate of around 15 meters per hour. So that is quite pretty good. So that's how these penguins are adapted to the polar region again. Okay, now let's look at the adaptation of some aquatic animals, some animals which are always lived inside the water. So the best example would be talk about fishes. They always live in water. Now let's see how do their bodies adapt so that they can live inside the water. They do not need any air. So they have gills, most important organ, because gills help them to in gases, exchange of gases. How do we respire? We breathe in. So we breathe it through our nostril, and there we have our lungs, where the exchange of gases take place. So we need oxygen, and we take it from our nose. So similarly, in the case of fishes, they take in the oxygen which is dissolved in the water and through their gills, and this gills is present in all the fishes. When we are talking about different type of fishes have different structures. So some of them might have elongated body, like how you see in this case. So it is quite elongated body, but some of them might have a very big tail. Some might have a different sizes, different orientation. So these changes in this structure of the fishes are as per their habitat. So it is not necessary that all the fishes they have the same structure. On the screen itself, you can see different fishes which are looking different from each other. But some of the basic things which are remain common in all of them, that they are all live in water, and depending upon whether the fish is living in a pond or a river or an ocean, there might be certain changes in their structure and habits. Like some of the fishes might be living in the slow moving water, so the way they swim might be different from those who are living in the fast moving water. Correct? So similarly might be living in the river bed and in the bottom of the river, whereas some of them might be living in the tides. So depending upon their habitats, their behavior, their structure might also change. But here I am discussing so gills help in respiration. Streamlined body. So streamlined body is, what do you mean by streamlined body? Like, have you ever noticed that structure of the aeroplane? Aeroplane is able to fly because it has a specific shape of its body, where the front and the end it is like a narrow and the middle part is quite wide. So this shape of an object help to reduce the friction of the medium or the resistance of the medium. For example, vehicles which run on the port, they are also shaped in the streamline so that it helps to reduce the friction which is provided by the surrounding air. Similarly, the fishes, their body is streamlined so that the water friction can be reduced and they can swim in a easier way. Fins and tails, if you see, they have a fins and tails. They help them. They allow their movement in the water. In fact, the tail they go through the direction specifically. They help in changing the direction. Okay, so they are very fast swimmer, and being fast swimmer, it helps them to catch their prey. So what do they eat? They eat tiny organisms inside the water. Maybe some small insects which are living in the water, or sometimes big fishes eat the small fishes. So even if they are fast swimmer, they are able to catch their prey pretty easily. Okay. So the one most important thing in case of fishes is gills, fins, tails, because all these parts are present in fishes, but they are not present in other organisms, because they need to live in water, they need to breathe underwater, so they need something to substitute the lungs which are present in human beings, correct? So they need to swim through water, they need something to reduce their resistance in water so that they can swim smoothly. So these are some of the adaptation of fishes. Now let us look at the adaptation of birds. So where do we see bird? So we see bird flying on or they are sitting on the trees, branches. So those are common cases where we see a lot of birds. Something special about the bird is that they can fly. Now what helps them to fly? So one thing, their streamlined body. If you look at the body structure of birds, they also have quite narrow ends but a wider middle part. So that streamlined body helps them to reduce the air friction, and that's how it helps them to fly. They have a long flight feathers and tails. Structure wise, they have feathers which are actually help them to in flying, and also the tail which control their direction during flight, because while flying they also change their direction. Okay, lightweight. Now due to their hollow bones, the bones of the birds are not solid. They are hollow from inside. So anything which have hollow from inside, they have a lightweight. So since they have lightweight, it is easier for them to go from one place to another. So that's also help them to fly from one place to another. Good eyesight. If you compare the size of eyes of the birds with respect to their body, you will see that their eyes are quite large as compared to their body size, because birds are not that big, right? But compared to that, they got quite big eyes. And since most of the time they are in air, flying from one place to another, so they really need to have a good eyesight so that they are able to catch their prey. So that's one thing, you catch your prey, because sometimes they are flying high and they need to notice their prey. That's one thing. Secondly, whenever they want to come down, they really need to land safely and avoid crashing with air. And for that also they really need to have a good eyesight. So good eyesight helps in safe landing, and it also sometimes helps to find their prey. Now, different types of beaks for different food habits. Now, if you observe the beaks for different birds, you will see that they are very much different from one another. So, beaks are as per their food habits. For example, if you talk about the parrot, so the parrot has their beak is more like this, curved like. Why it is like this? Because for parrots, they mostly feeds on seeds. So, this kind of beak help in cracking the seeds. Okay. If you talk about the birds like duck, so in case of duck, you will see that they got a flat beak with a tiny hole in it. Why? Because since it spend a lot of time in water, this tiny hole will actually help in filtering whatever they are eating. So they gonna eat something and they take it from muddy areas. Okay. If you talk about eagle, so eagle, they have very strong beak, and that is used for tearing meat, because eagles feed on other dead animals or anything which is dead. So now woodpecker, you see long beak compared to their body size, it is very big. So this beak help in drilling holes. That is woodpecker is famous for. They drill holes in the wood. So they are popular for that, and they help to drilling holes. A lot of other beaks also, they help them to eat grains or something, small insects. So small sparrow, like they have a small beak. So the different birds have a different body structure based on their specific habitat, specific food habit. They have a different type of beak. So that is vary from one to another. Now they migrate during unfavorable climate. So this is something very interesting with birds. Now it is very common in birds, however it also happen for other animals also. Birds, what do? Whenever the environment or the climate is unfavorable at a particular place, so they in a group they migrate from one place to another place to spend that to pass that unfavorable climate. Okay, for example, let us say they are living in a region where wind sets in. The temperature is very low and they are not able to survive. So they migrate to the region which is comparatively warmer. So they all move together in groups, and in fact they can even travel thousands of kilometers, 16,000 of kilometers to escape extreme climates. And again, when favorable condition return back, they return back to the same place. Now, one interesting thing you might thinking that where these birds exactly go. These birds are also have so you know they have also have sands within them, which tells them that which side will they have to go. As they keep moving from one place to another, they can also see the climatic changes in the climatic condition where it would be suitable for them. So not only birds, it is also migration is also seen in other animal like fishes, insects, mammals. All of them migrate, but the concept of migration is more popular in birds. So that is why in some regions, sometime in certain season, you see the new type of bird which migrated from some other place. So let us look at the adaptation of elephant. Elephants are something which are common to us because it is found in a lot of forests and Asia, including India. So even if you are going to some national park or you visit a zoo, you see elephants. So elephants are like quite abundant in India as well. Why do you see elephants survive in the forest area, mostly in hot and humid climate? Because Asia and India are their primary has a hot climate. So we do have winter season, but otherwise normally on an average it is hot climate. Okay, so what are the various body parts? How are the different body parts adjusted to the surrounding where they are living? So they live in a forested areas, for you can say a wild areas. So the first adaptation that they have is the trunk. So the trunk helps them a lot because look at their huge size. Okay, so how do they reach the food which is present on the ground? So it's like they are quite tall, right? And how will they reach to something like fruit or banana which are on the ground? So it helps them to access food on the ground. At the same time, they can also access food which are high up in the branches. So they generally eat all the leaves, fruits, and that's how these are their normal food. So the trunk also helps to make sounds which communicate with each other. It helps to obtain food and it also helps in communication. So it produces a special type of sound and that helps them to communicate with each other, to communicate amongst themselves. Tusk. They also have tusks. These are the tusks. And how do the tusks help? They help to tear the leaves or the plant's part while eating them. So they are like kind of substitute of the teeth. Now these tusks are extremely precious, and that is why a lot of places it has been seen that the people for their own benefit they take out the tusk from the elephant and they manufacture many different types of material out of it. They create so many ornaments or designer stuffs with the tusk of the elephant. So this tusk, however, help them to tear their leaves or whatever food they eat. They have very large ears. And why do they have large ears? In case of polar bear, they have very small ears. Why? Because they are living in a cold region. They do not want to lose enough heat. But in case the elephant live in a hot region, so the large ears help them to cool themselves. Sometimes the weather become really hot. Even they flap their. It is like a fan. Okay, so the ears are like a flap. They flap their ear to cool themselves. And this is how it helps them to survive in a hot climate. Big size. Now big size of this elephant make them less likely to be adapted by predators. So since they live in a forest, a lot of other animals also live in a forest. So the chances of being attacked or eaten up by some other animals is quite high. So because of this, their big size, it is less likely to smaller animals would adapt them. So that ways their big size give advantage to them. So these are some of the advantages of elephant which help them to survive in the hot region. Next is the adaptation of camel, and this is going to be very interesting because you all know that camel are surviving in a dry region where there is a lack of water. It sounds so surprising to know that camel can surviving without water as long as 14 to 15 days. So the first adaptation is a large feet. If you look at the feet of the camel, they are quite large. Why? Because they walk on sand. Again, walking on sand is equally tough as walking on snow. That is why different animals, based on different places where they are walking, they have a different type of feet. They have bushy eyelashes. If you look at their eyelashes, they have how we have eyelashes. Okay, similarly they have also. So that sand do not enter into their eyes because in desert area you really do not have plants and all. So you have like huge places of sand. So there are the chances to that the sand particle might enter into your eyes. So to prevent these entering in their eyes, they have bushy eyelashes. So this prevents sand entering into their eyes. Now nostrils. So if you closely observe the nostrils of a camels, you will see that there is a lining of hair which prevents the entry of sand. Now since it is a sand all over, so the sand particle might enter in the eyes and nose, and that is why everywhere there is a lot of protection have been provided. And so the camels can even close their nostrils fully to prevent the entry of sand. So that's how their nostrils help prevent the entering of sand. Now there is a hump. It is used for storage of food. So it is used basically for the storage. Now whenever there is a scarcity of food, fat is metabolized to provide energy. So basically it stores energy without insulating the body, because it is living in the desert area which are hot and dry, so it should not cause insulation. So that is why the fat is present in the hump in the form of tissue which act as a source of energy, but at the same time they do not provide any warmth to the body. So this fat tissue in the hump is only used for providing energy when needed, because for camel you can say they might not get water, they might not get food for many days, because deserts are like deserted, you do not see plants and animals, so there is a scarcity of food and water. So camels can adjust with that. So they can conserve water, they can drink up to 46 liters of water at one time. Can you just believe? Can you just imagine? Moreover, in case of camels, their routine is very much concentrated. So there is a loss of water through their urine is also there. There is no loss of water through sweating. So these are the various ways by which camel can conserve water. They do not sweat. They have a very concentrated urine. They do drink a lot of water at one time. Okay. So because of all these, they can conserve water. They can live without water without many days. They can live without water for many days. Now there is a thick coat also. The speciality of desert area is that they are very hot and dry, but the next nights are very extremely cold. Okay, they are extremely cold. So they need to have something. So they provide warmth at night. So they have a thick coat on their body, and it also helps camels to sweat less. So that ways it can help to conserve water. So it conserves water, it helps in conserving water, and it provides warmth at night. It's like a multi-purpose coat. Let's look at another animal, that is beard ape. So have you ever seen a beard ape? So it is called a beard ape because it is actually an ape, but it has a huge beard over its head and covering the entire face. So that is why they are named as beard apes. So when you see them, you have seen seen them in the forest. They are good climbers, and most of them you see on the trees. So because they feed on fruits, leaves, flowers on the trees, so they climb up on the trees and obtain its food from there and spend most of their lifetime on trees. So as you can see, they have very lightweighted. So due to lightweight, it becomes easier for them to climb. Just think of this example: somebody who is very fat, okay, will he be able to climb a tree easily, or somebody who is lean and thin, maybe a child, will be able to climb it easily? Obviously the small child can able to climb it easily because they have a lightweight. So same is true for the beard ape also. Because they have a lightweight, it is easier for them to climb the trees. They have a long tail, which again help them to for their movements. They have a small size and lightweight. They together help in their to be a good climbers, because they are called beardy because of their silvery white hair which surround their head from cheeks and chin. Everywhere you see this beard. So this silvery white beard, because of this they have named as a beard ape. Monkeys. very common you see in the forest. You can see have seen in the national parks, or so these monkeys are great climbers. They can also climb trees. They can jump and hop from one place to another. And let's see what are their adaptation. Now there is a prehensile tail. What do we mean by that? This is like a third one. Basically, it's like having third hand. There are two hands, okay, but it has got three hands. So the tail helps the monkeys to climb, and it also helps to hang in the branches. As you can see here, how it is hanging from the branches to branches. This can be done with their tail also. So the tail can also hold the object. So it is just like having a third hand. So it is almost like a third hand for the monkeys. Opposable thumb. So if you look at the thumbs, they can be folded in both the direction. For human beings, our thumb can fold only in one direction. But for them, it can fold in both the direction, and therefore it becomes easier to retrieve or to climb trees. They are excellent climber because of all these features. They live in groups in order to protect themselves from other predators. So being smaller in size, being not powerful, they prefer to be in group, because if 40-50 monkeys, they always live together, so they do not feel like attacking by some animals. So that way, they staying in group provide them protection against their enemy. So I hope this would be understood to you, and if not, then I will explain anything, whichever topic you want. If you have any confusion in any topic, I will explain it again in the Google Meet class if you have any confusion. Okay, so this is all for today, and we will continue with the adaptation of frog in the next video. Okay, thank you, students.